All right, everybody, I'm going to share my screen. Mm, 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 mm. All right, so my screen is shared. Let me put myself inside of this. Okay. Yeah, everything should be working good. This is a pop-up live. I do these often. I don't really have a set time to them in terms of when I go live. I just go live if I feel like it, or if I get a lot of requests to go live about a specific topic, or if something's happening and you guys just want to know my view on it or something like that. So I did get quite a bit of responses to go live based off the CPI data. So I was in Chrissy's live last night. Oh, well, not in her actual live, but I was in the comment section with her and Sarah, and we were just chatting. So I got a lot of people that asked me to come on and today and give my, like, what do I think is going on and what do I believe people should be doing. And so, as you guys know, the CPI data was released today. I am sharing my screen so you can see. We're going to go over this article together so that we can walk through this. I thought this would be better, and because I could just sit here and explain it, but if I can show you and go through an article with you so that you can understand, I think it would be easier, especially if you are new to this. This type of data or information impacts everybody. I think sometimes we think that if it's the economy, it's like investors who are really impacted, but I can tell you that investors or the wealthy is probably the least impacted by all of this. Okay. So we're going to just chat about it for a little bit. And the objective is to help keep you guys motivated. I do not believe in fear because fear doesn't, allow for growth. It's about really helping you to understand, helping you to see how you can prepare, giving you practical tips and advice on what you can do to get ready for what not only what's like already happening, but what's going to come. Okay. So I'm going to, and hey everybody, I see you. Hey guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. So let's go on and share my screen. Let's walk through this. So the CPI data was released today. So that's the Consumer Price Index. Basically, what that means is it measures how often Americans are spending money and what they're spending money on. So you got to understand that with inflation, the basic definition is that the cost of goods and services go up, but the value of your dollars, like your spending dollars, what you make at your 9 to 5, goes down. You don't really want that. Why? Because what happens is that the wealth gap widens, right? So, one reason why the market really, is so laser focused on this data is because it's not just like regular Americans who borrow debt, okay? It is corporations that do it as well. Actually, a lot of the big corporations that you know of, like Apple and Amazon and Tesla, all of those great corporations borrow debt. Do some of them need to? No. Apple has like $1 billion in cash in reserves. So, but if they can borrow debt cheaply, then they're going to choose that option. Okay. And so what happens is that when inflation keeps going up, companies usually lower their spending. Okay. And one of the ways that it impacts us, and a lot of times you don't hear people talking about how this will impact regular Americans, is that companies will either do hiring freezes, they will start layoffs, they may cut bonuses or raises. Some companies may actually ask you to take a pay cut. Okay. And this is, and again, it's about, a terminology that my husband always tells me about with football. You got to play offense and defense. You got to protect what you already have and then figure out a way to make, progress or grow upon what you have as well. You got to kind of work on both ends of the spectrum. And so we're going to go through this. So a lot of the economists were actually forecasting that inflation may have peaked and it may have, fall a little bit. But with these numbers, inflation actually rose again, 0.1%, which is interesting because I saw gas prices, and it mentioned this in this article, that even with gas prices falling, I'm sure many of you saw the same thing in your neck of the woods. You saw gas prices falling. But what I was talking to my husband about this morning was that though gas prices fell, it's still high overall. It's like saying, well, steak was $20, right? But now it's $17, but you used to pay $10 for it. So you're still paying a lot for the steak, though it may, the price has come down a little bit. Well, it's the same thing with gas prices and overall prices. And I know travel has kind of like, come to a standstill a little bit because people are back in school, vacation time is over. So that's another reason why gas has dropped, because the demand is lower now. But I knew that this data was going to come out like this. Why? Because I could see it all around me. Schools closed, shopping for school clothes and school supplies. I like in August, let me tell you guys, and the article actually mentions this down further, and we'll talk about it as well, that yes, gas decreased a little bit, but there was other increases in other areas. Shelter, for example, and it's right here. You come there, the food index increased 0.08 in August, and shelter calls, which make up about 1/3 of the weighing in the CPI. And this article is on CNBC. Love CNBC. I love the authors. I love that they really approach it from a non-biased standpoint. Love, love, love CNBC. I suggest you go ahead and just check in every now and then, because it helps you to understand what's going on in the markets and what's going on, more importantly, in the economy. Okay. But I saw like some of our utilities go up in August. I don't know if it's something that happened among the grids or with the water. I don't know what's happening, but water has gone up. Like your water bill has, you probably noticed, have gone up. Your electric bill or your gas bill, you probably have noticed, have gone up. And this is on top of like just rent going up, or your mortgage payments going up, or property taxes going up. So yes, gas fell a little bit, but overall things are still going up. And like I said, I saw it in school supplies. And God bless the teachers, because they really do try. And I know that if I don't send in the supplies, they will pay for it out their pocket. So I really try to go the extra mile and be one of those parents that send in, like, the Clorox wipes and the paper towels and all of that. But I noticed, I'm telling you guys, there was about a 40% increase in the cost. I could not believe it. And let me tell you this. And when I went to Target and Walmart to get the supplies for the children, they were like out of stock mid-August. Mid-August. My kids don't go back to school. They didn't go back to school until September 6th, I believe. I've never experienced the shortage in the amount of supply and then the increase in the amount of the supply. So, again, you see it around you, though you may not like fully recognize, like, oh my goodness, the cost of everything is truly going up. And I know we like to kind of equate it to just, like I said, gas costs, but everything has gone up. And so another thing that this article mentioned, which I thought was interesting, is that energy prices fell 5% for the month. That's not, uncommon, because if people are taking trips, they're not home. So they're really driving their cars and going in hotels. I just came from a conference at FinCon. So, you're not really at home using, but if you are one of the people that stayed home over the summer, you notice the uptick in your expenses, your bills, as well. Another thing that this article mentioned that went into this data, okay? So it's not just gas prices that gets factored into the CPI data, like it's measuring how people are spending. It's measuring how you and I are spending our money. So another interesting part of this was that the spending in medical care services had a huge increase. He's talking about 0.8%, that medical care services went up, which I thought was like interesting, because where I live, I'm noticing more and more just like medical type of services, buildings going up. So like the kidney dialysis locations are going up. You have a lot of like minute clinics that are starting to pop up everywhere. So, and not even just that, you're talking about medications that, you're starting to see go up now. Co-pays are starting to go up. So I know sometimes when you have like your premium, your health plans through your job, I think it's once a year where you can go and you can pick out what you want. And we're noticing that the co-pays are going up. A couple years ago, you could pay $10. Sometimes, depending on your health plan, you pay no money for your co-pays, but ours is going up. Just a standard copay to go see, OB. I'm not OB. I'm not pregnant. GYN, or your standard physician. Even taking the kids to the doctors, the eye doctor. I go to the eye doctor, dentist. you're seeing your co-pays go up. So I wasn't surprised by the increase in the medical care services going up, but it was just shocking because, again, and then of course with the pandemic and the things that are going on, the different, I believe I saw today that I saw a news article that the president uh has tested positive again for the C word, which was, again, so there's a saying that someone said, it pays to be sick. When you think about, like, there's a lot of money in the healthcare field, the healthcare sector. And so I just thought that was interesting how medical care services went up so much in 1 month. And if you see right here in the article, it said it rose 0.8% in August, but it's up over 5% from last August. So that is a big jump in medical care services. So one of the things you guys can do is create a sinking fund for medical services or medical care. So, like your co-pays, if you know you're going to have to get like some medications, even like the simple stuff like thermometers and cough medicines, because those are going up. Your Dimetabs, your Robitussin, your Tylenols. If you looked at the prices of those lately, those have gone up as well. So, start a sinking fund for it. Again, it's one of those things that you may not need it right away, but oh my goodness, you're so glad that you have it when you actually do need it. Okay. So, yes, medical services went up in the month of August as well. Another thing that went up that went into this report, the numbers, okay, was the cost of new vehicle purchases. Now, we all know I've been talking about, the values of used cars and new cars, but more so used cars have gone up substantially since this pandemic started. And there's still demand for it because people are going back to work now. Kids are like back in school in person. And so people need access to a vehicle. So new car prices rose as well, and it rose 0.8% as well. So you see it right here, and it may be because some of the supply chains are opening back up. So we get a lot of our cars from overseas, or even like Mexico, but they have to import that stuff, and so some of the markets are opening back up a little bit, and so they're able to get more vehicles in. But anybody who has bought a vehicle, let's say from January to now, or even since the start of this pandemic, notice the increase. If you're going to buy a car, you notice that the price went up. And you may not even be like a whiz when it comes to numbers, but you notice somewhere like, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was this much. And speaking of that, car insurance as well, and car repairs. I mean, oh my goodness, if you've been to an auto mechanic lately just to get tires, brakes, rotors, the car wash, just something as simple as the car wash. So you see it being affected everywhere. So let's talk a little bit about, the article talks about, they're trying to find out where inflation is coming from. So the biggest areas where inflation is coming from is three parts. And the article says it right here. It says it's very clear to them that it's food, it's transportation, and it's rent. Rent keeps marching higher. That is the most stubborn of everything the Fed is fighting at this point. So let's talk about that for a little bit. You guys know we don't even have to really like spend too much time on it. If you go to the grocery store, if you do Instacart, if order off of Amazon Prime, you noticed it, right? Y'all notice the prices of everything going up. I know it can't be just me. And it's not even just like food in the sense of groceries, just to go out to eat. The restaurants aren't giving as many coupons as they used to back in the day. I used to love saving the pizza coupons and, like the buy one, get one coupons. Kids eat free. I don't think I've seen kids eat free since before the pandemic. You can go on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and your children under the age 12 and under could eat free. Mm-mm. You don't see that anymore. So I can definitely see what they're saying, that they noticed that the sector of the food area, oh my goodness, has gone up. Insane. Okay. The next part they talked about was transportation. Transportation has gone up. Everything that is associated with vehicles, and not just vehicles, but like traveling. When I went to FinCon, I spoke in my FinCon like review video. It's about 2 videos back. So make sure you guys go and take a look at that, if you are interested in that. Sorry guys, my daughter is contacting me. I got, especially what's going on nowadays. Yes, I gotta stop and make sure everything is going on with my baby cakes. Oh, she's just fine. She just texted me. She need to be paying attention while she's in class. But I spoke in that FinCon review video that the flights, my husband and I and my family, we've been going to Orlando for years. Disney, Universal, we've been to SeaWorld, we've been to Clearwater. just all the way all through Southern Florida. Flying into Orlando round trip per person was really no more than $150, $120 ish per person. I can tell you that when I looked up the flights to go to FinCon, which was hosted in Orlando, it was $342 a person. I lie to you not. So we actually flew into Tampa, which is about an hour away from Orlando, and just rented a car and drove up because we were saving $500-$600 just doing it that way. So again, transportation costs have gone up as well. And then the final thing that they mentioned was rent, which was, I've seen our mortgage go up, and in our mortgage, we have like the insurance, we have property taxes, like all kind of embedded in, escrow and all of that. But overall, when you look at the numbers, um, the increase in rent has far outpaced the increase in mortgages. So if you own a home and you own a rental property, you'll be able to see this kind of like side by side. Oh, let me make sure hey guys, good morning. When I get like on a roll, I don't even look at the comments. I just be talking. Let me come on. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Jay. Hi, Jenny. Uh, Hello, guys. Let's see. Oh, question. Did you see the railroad works might go on? I did not. Really? Are you serious? Jay, about the railroad workers going on strike? Wow, I did not know that. And I was talking in the comment section of Chrissy's live yesterday, which was really, really great. About if you can stock up on an extra roll of something, like an extra roll of toilet paper, an extra roll of paper towels, whatever it is that you use, if you can like put it in your budget to get like one extra, because again, I've noticed it seems like every time I go back to the market, like simple things like rice has gone up a few cents every time I go back, single time I go back. So I've been wanting to now, like, because I know the holidays are coming up. We have Christmas, we have Thanksgiving, we have Halloween. We just have a lot of gatherings. Stock up a little bit on your rice, your sugars, things that you may use on a regular basis. Then, because I could definitely see a markup in those types of things because the manufacturers already know the demand for like baked goods. And I'm telling you guys, I usually get an offer for a free turkey or ham. I would say like end of October, beginning of November. Go get it. Like go get it because they started to run out of the turkeys and the hams last year. So these are small things that we can do to, help keep us ahead a little bit when it comes to the cost of everything going up. Christmas as well. The article doesn't really talk about consumer spending so much in terms of the CPI numbers, but we already know when this comes out again, especially when the holiday season kind of really gets going, we're going to see an uptick in consumer spending. So if you can, like, I don't know if you do like Pollyannas with your family. That's something we do with our family, like because it just becomes more expensive. So all the adults just put a name in a hat and you just pick out a name and that is the person you focus on. So it's just one person you focus on and it keeps your overall cost down. And you can really just, bless and spoil just one person versus like 13, 14, 15 adults because it's a lot. And so, get ahead a little bit with, the holiday spending as well, because I mean, I know we like to go out on Black Friday, but I haven't seen a really good Black Friday deal in years, like a real, real good one. They used to have them like solid ones back in the day. Now, no, no, no. I wonder if the cost of living for Social Security is even going up. I believe it is going up a little bit. I have to look that up, but I believe it is going up a little bit. Let me look on my phone real quick because I can pull it up. I believe it is. Okay. It's going up 8 to 10% for next year for 2023, the Social Security cost of living. So it's going up a little bit, which I think is good. But they won't have exact numbers until closer to the new year. So I would just keep an eye on it. But it is going up a little bit, which I think is great. But again, inflation is at, in my humble opinion, like 25%. I mean, they're like teetering around. Oh, it's like 15, 18. It's about 20, 25% if we're being honest with ourselves. That's where inflation is right now. My sister just had to pay over $500 to have a headlight change. Really? And an oil change? I thought oil change used to be, oh my goodness, maybe $25, $30. My husband know how to do oil changes. So again, those little things where you have people in your family that know how to like change a tire, or maybe they can teach you how to do it or change oil, because that's insane. A headlight. To have a headlight changed and to get an oil change. Again, transportation costs. It's not just buying the car, it branches out into so many other areas: car insurance, car maintenance, just little things you may want to get to decorate your car with. It all factors into that. Hi, Sandra. Good morning. So let's come down a little bit. So, to combat the surge, so the Fed has been talking about, and we already been talking about Jerome Powell. We talk about Jerome Powell a lot. I talk about this man so much, like outside of knowing who Beyonce is, and I don't even think she is in terms of the importance of the impact of your life. He has a lot more say so. This man has a lot of power. If he decides to increase the interest rates, everybody suffers. If he decides to lower the interest rates, then all of us, benefit from that. So that's why I always say, like, if he's coming on, if you don't want to watch him, go to CNBC. You can go to other websites as well and just read like a quick article that one of the reporters put together. And that way you can follow along to see how this will impact you. So far this year, the Fed has increased interest rates 4 times. 4 times. And if you remember when Powell spoke, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I did talk about it. He mentioned that there was going to be some pain because he is going to get inflation back down again. Okay. And if the man say he gonna do it and that it's gonna be some pain, what we need to do is to play defense. Okay. So this is football talk. And I don't even know a whole lot of football talk, but I do understand the way my husband explained it to me. You need to protect what you have. You need to be able to find a way to keep more of what you have because things are going up and up and up. So you may have to cut back on some things. You may have to button up a certain bit. You may have to just eat less sometimes because people's food budgets cannot be stretched any further. So you may have to eat a little bit less, maybe cut out some meats and, add some extra vegetables. Start a garden if you can. I know if you live near like a farmer's market like I do, those places are godsends. And I've noticed that before the pandemic, going to the farmer's market was relatively easy. Now that place is packed because, again, people are trying to save where they can. But the report that came out today clearly just tells you that the interest rates are going to continue to go up. So I'm all about finding solutions. So what can you do? So if you want to buy a house, save a little bit extra. Okay. If you're trying to buy a house between now and the next 2-3 years, save a little bit extra. Okay. If you can save 5% more to account for the cost of inflation, do so. Now, keep in mind, you want to remember you may not be able to get as much house. Okay. Because I was asked this like about, I want to buy a house. What do I do? You may not be able to buy as much house because if the interest rates are higher, I think the interest rates now on a primary mortgage is about 6-ish%, maybe 6.5%. Remember, a year ago, it was like 2.5, 3%. That's a big jump in terms of interest on a loan that you're getting for like $300,000. It may not sound like a lot, but it is. And they have a lot of free calculators that you can use online to plug your numbers in, simple calculators, so that you can see like, okay, realistically, this is how much home I can afford. Last year, it may have been $300,000. This year, because of the higher interest rates, it's maybe $200,000. Okay. So you want to be really, really realistic when it comes to that if you're trying to buy a house between now and the next 2 to 3 years. Another thing, get your emergency fund saved. You can start with $500, and then after you get your $500, your next goal can be 1,000. Then after that, your next goal can be 1 month's worth of expenses. And then you want to work from 1 month to 3 months. Okay. But you want to at least get 3 months saved because, again, Powell has mentioned in his press conference that he's going to continue to turn up the burner until inflation gets down to 2%. And I thought that was kind of unrealistic. Like, wait a minute. If you guys are saying that inflation is around 15%, though we know it's actually 25%, how are you going to get this down to 2% without putting everybody into a depression? Forget recession, a depression. So what they're trying to do is like slowly take the Band-Aid off. But, sometimes that's the worst part. But I do understand what they're trying to do because you cannot afford, especially with an election, midterms coming up in November, and then a presidential election coming up soon after that. It's you from a political standpoint, they will not do that. So they will just kind of slowly take the Band-Aid off. And as a result, a lot of us is going to feel the impact. Another thing you can do, high interest debt. If you have credit cards, if you have car loans, if you have anything that has a variable interest rate attached to it, if you don't know how to find this information, pull up your statements. A lot of people that I talk to don't even look at their statements. You should always look at your statements, whether you get credit card statements monthly, even your investment statements. Look at your statements. Go through your statements so that you can see what's going on with in terms of fees, maybe interest, even if like with your investments, if you get dividends, go through your statements so that you know what all of that um looks like. So let's come on back over here. So another thing that you can do, okay? If you are getting your student loans forgiven, okay, and the government said they was going to put more information about this out, I believe it's mid-October or so. But if you're still going to have a balance on those student loans, remember, the president said that there was not going to be any more forgiveness. There was not going to be any more like extending it out and or 0% or all of that. That stuff ends January 1st. So if you know you're going to have a balance on your student loans come January 1st, guess what's going to be attached to that? Interest. And you know what most student loans have? Variable interest rates. So yes, you may be getting forgiven $10,000 or $20,000, which is great. I'm all for student loan forgiveness. But again, defense on the back end. I would be continuing to maybe put a sinking fund together so that way you can start adding little bits of money so that you can start making your payments come January 1st. Okay. You don't want to get blindsided and caught off guard, especially, and here's the kicker, a lot of times when they start things on January 1st, it's really hard to adjust for normal people, us Americans, because of the holiday season. So some of us, a lot of us, me included, sometimes we get amnesia when the holidays approach and we're not thinking, okay, this starts up January 1st or January 2nd. So I need to make sure that come Christmas and all of that, I'm not overspending. I'm not doing more than I need to because I have responsibilities that is going to take place come the new year. Hence, student loans. So student loans will not only be back enforced, but they're going to have interest attached to them. And most student loans have variable interest rates. So while the Fed keeps increasing everything right now, we don't have to pay anything, right? Student loan payments are paused and all of that, but the interest rates are still going up. So you may not have to pay it now, but guess what's going to happen come January 1st? You're going to have to pay it then. So these are all things we can put some things in place now to help us prepare for all of the things that's going to impact us on the back end. So yes, definitely and you don't have to like get so scared and worried in terms of like how can I do all this? I'm really in the hole. Start small. Get one of your credit cards or one of your debts. And one thing I really do like about Dave Ramsey is the psychology approach to how you can pay off debt, like with the snowball method. Just take your lowest debt and let that be your focus for right now. And here's the key, okay? This is the key. Do not put a balance on it once you pay it off. Okay. If you know you have trouble with credit cards and spending and you pay it off, don't put no money back on there unless it's like a life or death emergency. And that's exactly what I mean. Okay. You wanting to order Uber Eats because you have a huge craving is not a life or death emergency. Okay. I'm talking about your roof is flooding. I'm talking about your car was sideswiped and you need to get it fixed. That's the type of emergency I'm talking about, not cravings or urgings or things like that. And I'll tell you this, back in the day, okay, I used to sweet talk myself into debt. Okay, no man could hold a candle to Shalise when she started to sweet talk herself into getting things that she knew she did not need. And it wasn't even that I even wanted it. I just kind of rationalized it in my brain, like, oh yeah, I need. No, you didn't need it because you got things you have to be, you have to pay for right now, and that you have to be responsible for. Let me get back to some comments. You said your local IHOP still does kids for free. That's amazing. I know I'm behind. Y'all know when I get into the rhythm of things, I'm just in it. How long do you think it will take for interest rates to go back down? 3 years, at least. 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years at least. At least 3 years. Okay? So again, it's about looking ahead and lining up our finances accordingly, right? Yes, Leroy. Yes. And you're probably more on the money, Leroy. I was saying 3 years, but probably more so 5. You got to understand the mess that we're in. And keep in mind, inflation is going to get worse. Now, I'm a student loan forgiveness proponent. This should happen a long time ago, but the money just doesn't disappear. It doesn't just kind of go in a trash can somewhere, and we're going to pay for it somehow, some way, somewhere down the line. We are going to have to pay for it. So because we know this now, what can we do? We can be more responsible with our finances. You may slip off the wagon a little bit. You're human. I do the same thing too. Okay. But it's about getting back on the horse. That is where the success is. You get back up again. You're going to fall 100 times. When we first started, even now, I overspent for my daughter's birthday. I mean, you're human. Give yourself some grace, but get back up. Sometimes when you fall, we get stuck there and we don't progress. We actually regress. We don't want to do that. You acknowledge the mistake, you get back up, and you keep moving forward. That is how you do it. Okay. Because remember, this is all numbers. Numbers don't care about emotions, they don't care about setbacks. It cares about what's the data, and this is what we're going to react on. So, because we know it now, we can use each other to help, be motivated and encouraged. I'm always here to, keep you guys revved up, like keep going. Okay. I'm going to show you my Robinhood portfolio while I'm here. Okay. You're going to see it down today. Okay. When this information came out, our Robinhood, all of our actually investment portfolios plummeted. Okay. And I talked about in my recent video that if you cannot handle seeing your investments down $100, you're not going to be able to stand it down 1,000. The more you invest, when there's a downturn, the more you're going to see your money down. But I don't consider it a loss because I didn't sell nothing. I'm on this bus to not get off at the next stop. I don't get on this train to get off at the next stop. I got on this train to go all the way down to the end. Okay. This is 5, 10, 15 years from now. Okay. But let's see. I want to make sure I answer your questions. Yes, Sarah. Yep. The report it's a lot of good information and it's not hard to understand. It's not difficult to understand. I think it's just in the presentation. And that's why I figured, you know what, let me come on here. A lot of you have been asking me to do it and just talk. I think a lot of the fear we have comes from not having open dialogue about it, not having just conversations about what's going on. How can you, prepare and make sure you do the best that you can on the back end so that you're not kind of swiped out into the ocean somewhere, drowning because of what's going on. Let's scroll down a little bit. We're almost at the end of this article. And so there was some good news in terms for workers. So you guys know that there have been a lot of information released about, the people, the labor workforce. People are going back to work. I know that around where I live, there's still a hiring demand. I mean, and it's not just like in retail, like your fast food and your clothing stores, which I believe I was in Target said that they're looking for seasonal employees for like $22 an hour, y'all. $22 an hour. Okay. For seasonal. And so it's a great way to create a side hustle or a side income. Okay. And that's another thing we want to talk about is inflation. If inflation is at 15, 20, 25%, we need to be figuring out a way to create an additional stream of income or allowing the money that we have to be stretched further. Okay. Because and I was listening to someone, I forgot who it was. I listen to so many people. A lot of you have great, great, great content. But Ally, they're at 2% now for the savings, which I absolutely love because our emergency fund is getting, some extra bit, but 2% don't hold a candle to inflation. It doesn't hold a candle to it. So what I try to tell people is that don't feel like you can't save your emergency fund. You always should save your emergency fund because it's the foundation. It's like your financial insurance policy. You need an emergency fund because life happens and we want to have some liquid cash to have access to. But they always say that wealthy people's money is made during times like this. So I always tell people if you can invest, you definitely should be investing. I have an investing video coming out soon. I'm trying to get caught up because Finn kind of like pushed my schedule behind. But the market is down, but in dividends we received like $400 in August and we're on schedule to receive over $500 in September. Why? Because compound interest keeps working for you even when the market is down. Some people that I talked to, they didn't realize that you still can get dividends when the market is red. Yeah. Like yeah, so that's a motivator for a lot of you who are doing the $1 a day investing challenge. Remember, Apple is our stock for September, which I'm going to talk about Apple soon because if you are an Apple shareholder, you should be salivating and jumping for joy with the new iPhone release. Okay. As an investor, you should be like sitting there like this. Okay. But yeah, investing is crazy, crazy important. It can be a little tricky because you see red all over the place and you're like, I'm losing my money. You're not losing anything. Remember, you're not investing to get rich by next Friday. You're investing for 5 years from now, at least 5 years from now. Okay. You shouldn't need this money. You shouldn't need to even withdraw all your money, less than 5 years. This is the long game, the long haul here. Okay. And I can tell you that every time I listen to an interview or a podcast by Warren Buffett, if the forums that I'm in, the people that I've met at FinCon, okay, are heavily investing right now. And again, if you can't put a whole lot of money in, we've been doing this $1 a day investing challenge for one whole year, 12 whole entire months. Okay. So $1 a day, you can do that. And that's another way you can kind of get ahead a little bit when it comes to the pain that Jerome Powell himself said is going to come, to all of us. Let's talk a little bit about Apple. What was really interesting when Apple released the information for the new iPhone is that I saw myself, several people saying they were going to buy it. And so on one end, though inflation may be high and things are going up, people are still spending money on certain things. Apple is one of those things. If an Apple device comes out, it could be a laptop, a watch, it could be a desktop, whatever, a phone. There are always people lining up for it. So what that tells me as an investor is that Apple has an extreme loyal customer base, an extreme loyal customer base. So that tells me, okay, I need to get some money into this stock. Apple is trading, I don't even know right now. I got to pull it up, but maybe like now because the market just fell because of the data, maybe like $130 or something like that per share. This new iPhone that's coming out is what, $1,300 a share. So if you want to get the iPhone, which is fine, try to get at least a share in the company so that you can be an owner and a consumer, offense and defense as well. Let's see. Is there a way you could do a video or post about some more books or podcast resources? My commute is 60 to 90 minutes per day. So listening to an audiobook, I can do that for you. I have like a bunch that I recommend, but I'll put it in a post. That way you guys can see and get some encouragement. There's a lot of things that I watch when I'm doing laundry. So I'm just standing there folding clothes. So I can watch something on TV or listen to something. If I'm in the car line at the school, I can literally, like while I'm waiting for the kids to come out, have something on the radio or on my phone playing. So there is opportunity for you to make, the time to learn and to educate yourself so that you can kind of, become a knowledgeable, not just investor, but just all around with your finances, you can do and be better. I can tell you outside of, like increasing our income and just becoming wiser with money, education is important. Financial literacy is so important, but sometimes we're so busy, we don't have the time. But what I started to realize is that I made the time to watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I could have been using that same hour or couple of hours to be watching a documentary on, what Warren Buffett got to say about the stock market, how to be a good beginner investor. I'll tell you this, there's a documentary on YouTube called The Retirement Gamble. You talk about a good documentary that is eye-opening. You should watch it. It's called, I got my phone up. I'm typing it up into, I think it's called The Retirement Gamble. And that way you can just get started slowly. The Retirement Gamble, that's what it's called. It's by Frontline. It's a full documentary. It's about an hour. And if you feel like you're behind, that's okay. Okay. Everybody don't see the light at 20 years old. Everybody starts wherever they kind of know to do. And that's the thing. When you know to do better, then that's where you start at. You don't have to start at 20, 25, 30. Some people don't get it. I've talked to people that's in their 50s. But again, it's about making a plan about where you are right now and doing the best you can. I cannot tell you how budgeting is important for all of this. Okay. Sinking funds is another important thing. A lot of people used to do them like heavily back in the day, but I'm so thankful for this budgeting or finance community because everybody is on the sinking fund train right now because you need them. These expenses are going to come up. So why don't you save for them in advance? Okay. Coming up with a plan to pay off debt. Focus on one credit card. If you can take the lowest credit card balance you have and just focus on that to get that paid off and don't put any more on it. That's key. Okay. You pay it off, but then you put more on it unless it's a life or death emergency, not financial advice. Okay. But you want to just make sure Apple is trading at 160. Oh, see, look, I was even lower. Okay. And again, Apple is up right now because the demand for those new phones is up right now. So as an investor, I'm sitting back thinking, okay, this is good because it lets me know that despite inflation being terrible, people are still going to buy certain things. So I want to make sure that those products and services that people will continually buy, I want to make sure I own shares in it. Disney is another one. Okay. My daughter and I, when we were down at FinCon, we took one evening and we went over to the Disney's Not So Scary Halloween party. It was crowded. It was crowded. So that tells me as an investor, even if inflation is through the roof, guess what? Disney is still going to make their money, right? The movies, the parks, the Disney Plus app, they're still going to make their money. Okay. So these are things that I'm looking at so I can, get ahead and not feel as much pain when it comes to, what's going on in the market. And then last but not least, it talks about how there has been some rising wages, which is good. I think I talked about Target, advertising, $20 an hour for seasonal workers. I don't think I've ever seen seasonal positions like that high, guys. I don't think I've ever seen seasonal wages. And some of them are like part-time, but again, it's another way to get extra funds, like doing Uber Eats. I know some of you have told me you've been doing like the driving so that you can get some extra funds and put those extra funds. And this is where you want to have a plan for all the extra side hustles you're trying to do. You want to have a plan for that money so that it doesn't just like slip through your hands. And I know, Tara from A Journey to Wisdom and Wealth. One of the things that she did, and I love it, I told her this was a really, really great thing she did, is that when she was going to buy her house, she got a side job, and every single penny that she made from that side job went to her down payment. So have a purpose if you're going to start a YouTube channel or an Etsy shop or whatever it is that you want to do to kind of get extra income, have a purpose for it. So if you want to put it all towards debt, make sure that you put it all towards debt. If you want to buy a house, put the money in the down payment. If you want to invest more, put that money into the stock market. I mean, these are all things that we can do and it all helps. It's not just investing. It's about making sure you have a solid budget. It's about making sure you pay down your high interest debt. High interest to me is anything over 10%. But if you have anything over like 15%, especially 20%, you're going to start to feel this pain a lot more, especially as the Fed continues to increase interest rates. Leroy said, my Webull is all small cap companies, took a beating, down about 60. Yep. I look, I'm there, bro. I'm there. Let me pull up the Robinhood so I can show y'all. This is about being transparent, right? Everything is, as an investor, one of the things that I'm so happy that I was able to kind of understand is the psychology of it. When the market is red, and again, we don't get paid until Thursday. So I can't really do anything about it. And I pay myself through my business once a week, and that's on Fridays. But this is the time where I wish I had some more money to like buy in. But I'm going to share the screen again so you guys can see like the market is just open, and it's blood in these streets. Okay, look at this. Okay, y'all should be able to see that. We are down $486.76 right now. And it's moving. This keeps moving. So it's at $500 pretty much right now. Okay, it hit the $500 mark. I wish I had some more money to buy into these companies. This is when, and actually, I really try to be strategic. Now, I don't try to time the market, okay? But I try to really keep our buying to days when the market is red, let's just say. So the market is going to be red today. This is a day where I will want to buy in versus yesterday when the market was up green. I prefer to buy in when the market is red because I'm getting a better deal on CVS, for example. Okay, I'm getting a better deal on CVS because I do believe in CVS. I do think they are a great company. I do love the CEO. Karen is an amazing, amazing leader. And I love the partnerships that CVS is doing. They're if you're going into like your Targets, you're going to start to see more CVS's and Starbucks. So, and I love how they all came together and said, look, we could be beneficial to each other. Target has a solid customer base. They're going to want some coffee. So Starbucks, like, we can step in and fill that void for you. Because Target's like, that's not our lane. We don't want to really make coffee. So why don't we partner together? And then CVS came and said, okay, your shoppers may want to pick up the medication, maybe get their flu shots and such. Okay, let's partner together. So now you can go into Target and really do like more one-stop shopping because I think that trend is coming back. Okay, especially because the pandemic and just the world is getting crazier and crazier and crazier with violence and stuff. So people like to do their running all in one swoop, if that makes sense. I know For me, I prefer to do that. I prefer to get my groceries and my household supplies, pick up any medications, and get a coffee and a nice treat all in one shebang, right? And overall, you spend less money that way. So I'm a big fan of CVS. So I would say, you know what? I'm going to put some more money into CVS right now, considering, and then again, when the market is red and you guys are panicking, this is why I say don't give into fear. Look at the numbers. Yeah, CVS is down $1.11 per share, but we're up 14.29%. That's amazing. Our average cost is $89. So again, it's like, yeah, it looks terrible right now. But if I zoom out to the past year or 5 years, we're up what 20, this company is up 27%. So again, it's about looking at the numbers because the numbers don't lie. And it'll help you to stay motivated. If you have your trackers, don't if you complete like a challenge or something, don't throw them out. Get a planner, a folder, a binder, something, and put them all in there. That way, when you're having those rough times, you can go back and you can look at it and you can say, you know what, I did this before. Yeah, I had a setback. Yeah, the expenses were a little higher this month, but look what I was able to achieve before in the past. And it'll motivate you to continue to do it. I have a lot of my stuff from years ago, even the notes, like the standard notepad and all of my scribbles. I go back and look at that stuff. My spreadsheets I keep. So you can go back when you're feeling unmotivated, when you feel like, you know what, I'm not making as much progress as I wanted to. Go back to your visuals. Your visuals will actually tell the truth. Because in your mind, you may think, I'm not doing as well as I want to or as someone else. And that's another thing. Do not compare yourself to nobody. It's hard because it's the internet, okay? But you really need to take the golden nuggets of what people say. And if it applies to your situation, apply it to your situation, okay? But it's about looking at your dynamic, okay? It's about looking at your journey as well. I could tell you it was hard when we first started because when I first started looking up investing, we were investing $100. So you can imagine looking at people that have thousands of dollars. But I stuck to the idea of if I was consistent, I would get up there one day. It took time. That's another thing that sometimes we struggle with is patience. I talk about patience a lot. You have to give yourself time to do and be and have and go. Okay. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to, pay off debt, nothing happens overnight. It's rhythm. You got to find your rhythm. You got to find something good that fits your specific situation and just go for it. But I wanted to show you guys, yeah, our investment accounts are down. They're down right now. And some of them are down more than others. Old Realty Income. I love this stock a whole lot. Look how much it's down today. 81 cents. If you look at the past week, it's down 90 cents. So, but if you look at the past 5 years, you see that, and this was down because of the pandemic that happened in March. So everybody was impacted by that. It wasn't just Realty Income. If you kind of paid attention to the economy and the stock market in March of 2020, everything tanked. No, nothing was, like hidden from it or wasn't affected. Cryptocurrency, housing, values, the stock market, everything tanked. There was a lot of fear. I was scared too because I was like, what's going on? What is this C word? Like, it can kill you. You can't, I mean, you know what I mean, y'all? Like, it was a lot of fear. But now that we know, now that we've come through it, we can see, like what's going on. So, yes, our accounts are down $520. I'm not phased one bit, like one single bit. I'm waiting for payday come Thursday. And that's the mindset you get in. It's like, yeah, the interest rates are going up, but I get paid soon. I'm going to be making a nice chunk payment on this credit card or on this car loan or putting it in my emergency fund or my sinking funds. No, that is where you get your juice from. Okay, guys? So did anybody have any questions? Okay. I know it was a lot. But I hope that you guys, hi Desiree. Hello guys. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. I really wanted to come on and just talk about it a little bit. Things will get a little bit worse before they get better. I've been saying that all year. They're going to get worse before they get better. Another thing that I am going to do a video about this soon is about I bonds. You need to get on the train. Not financial advice, but the rate of I bonds. The I stands for inflation. So the rate that you get is tied to the rate of inflation. And if Mr. Powell himself is saying, oh, it's going to get a little rough, rates are going to go up. So, you can, and the thing about I bonds is that you can put in as little as I think it's $25 or $50. like 25 or $50. So again, you have your little savings challenges. A lot of you on here have so much talent. You can literally go even into like Canva and create your own. You may not want to like, sell it or put it on a channel. You may not even have a channel. But again, these are little things that we can do to get ahead. I bonds. I am really am excited about, what the new rate is going to be when they announce it. Let's say in the October. It'll be official at the beginning of November, but you'll start to hear like rumors and different economists come out and say, well, this is what is we're projecting it to be, but currently it's 9.62. Yeah, that's amazing. Like seriously, amazing. So my husband and I want to put a little bit more in for ourselves and for our children because each of our children have IBAN accounts as well. So again, you don't have to put in a whole lot, 25, $50. 25, $50. Get started. Okay. I'm a big fan of small adds up. Small always adds up. Okay. I was wondering if like buying into food brands were good to invest in and how would you go into buying? Okay. So if you're going into buy food companies, I would say some of my favorites, not financial advice. I know I got to put my little spiel in, but I mean, we talking, right? We talking. One of my favorite food or consumer staple companies is Coca-Cola and Pepsi. I love them both, but I like Coca-Cola a little bit more because these are things when the pandemic first happened, people were still buying anyway. You would think like, yeah, people wouldn't be buying soda like Diet Coke. Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. And keep in mind, if you're going, hi, Chris, welcome. And if you're looking into food companies, go in your kitchen, open up your cabinets. Like what's the company that Unilever. So Unilever is one of those companies that make household products in addition to food products. So they make the Breyers ice cream that you all see. You know what? Let me pull this up. Let's talk about this. Let me show you because my folks that's in my private groups and stuff, they know I'm a fan of just bringing up a website and we're just gonna talk. We're just gonna talk about it. Well, I'm trying to get my screen switched, so y'all got to give me 1 second. Right, let me switch my screen. I'm going to share my screen, okay, guys? All right, so one of my favorite websites in the entire universe for investing, for research, and if you you want to do this, just this is free game, okay? It's stockanalysis.com. So you asked me a question about thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you being here, Talia. Thank you so much, girl. So you want to find a food company. So one reason why I like Unilever, I don't own them, but they're on my like wish list, my watch list. One of the reasons why I do like them so much is that a lot of their products we don't really realize. So I said Breyer's ice cream, but they also own, excuse me, guys, Ben and Jerry's as well. They own Hellman's mayonnaise, but they also own like the Vaseline brand. Okay, so a lot of you may buy that. The 7th-generation laundry detergent. A lot of you may buy that. The Nor sides, like like the little rice and things like that. They own those as well. So they own Arm and Hammer. So the little detergent and stuff that you like to use, they own those as well. So again, this is how you can be an owner and a consumer. They're a good company and they pay a dividend as well. I mentioned Coca-Cola. Second, type in the ticker symbol. That's KO. Again, if you don't know the ticker symbol, just type in Coca-Cola. It'll come up, okay? Now, why can I spell Coca-Cola? That's the wrong one. That's the other Coke. Okay, so this is the one that's publicly traded on the market. So you can see right here that it's currently at $61.89. It'll probably be less than that, by the end of the day. But if you go to profile, it gives you a simple description of the company and the services and products that they have. So a lot of people are very loyal to these manufacturers. So we're talking about food, right? So if you know that you are a Coke ride or die supporter, okay, you could be one paycheck away from being on the street, but you're gonna have your Diet Coke. Then you need to be an investor in a company, okay? And they pay a dividend as well. So we do own Coke. I'm a big fan of Coke. I do like Pepsi as well. Pepsi, let me click here. Let me type it in. PEP. Here it is. All right. So Pepsi is a little higher at 171 per share, but they make a lot of food brands as well. So it's not just beverages. They own the Tropicana brand, so like your orange juices, and things like that. They own a lot of pastas and grits and things. So I really do like Pepsi. The reason why I like Coke more is because Coke has a lot of partnerships with other businesses. So like if you go into Disney World, Disney has an exclusive partnership with Coke. So in their parks, it's only Coke products. So that's one reason why I like Coke more so over Pepsi is because of their business model. Is a little bit better. Another food company that I really do like is General Mills. Yeah, General Mills is another one. Where is it? I spelled that wrong. Where is it? Okay, I know I'm spelling it wrong. Sorry, guys, I'm getting a blank. Gene. Like, girl, why you can't spell? Okay, hold on, y'all. Hold on. That's a ticker symbol. This is why I go by tickers because if I get in those moments where I have brain freezes, I just go by ticker symbols. Okay, so GIS is a ticker symbol. And what I love about General Mills is that they own the Pillsbury brand. So a lot of you may go out and buy the little rolls and little what do they call the icing bun things? I can't even think. So I'm getting a brain freeze. But they own those. They own like Flour by Gold Medal. They own like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which my kids actually love. I like Cheerios. I'm a Cheerio eater, so they make them as well. Progresso, you buy that. The Go-Gurt little yogurts for back to school, they own those as well. So again, I like General Mills because literally in my kitchen, I have probably about 15% of their brands in my kitchen. And sometimes I'm a brand snob. So like, if I'm going to make a box cake, I do like Betty Crocker and I do like Duncan Hines too, but I really like Betty Crocker. So, if I'm a brand snob in certain things like Tide, I love Tide. P&G makes Tide. They make Charmin, they make Bounty. So these are some of the ways you can get into investing in companies or being an owner in companies that you use on like a regular basis, if that makes sense. High balance and budget, welcome. Yes. But yeah, so this is how you can, and a lot of times when I tell people this, they're so shocked. They're like, wait a minute, what? I say, yes, girl, the cereal your kids love to eat that you spend all that money on is traded on the stock market. And look, General Mills is how much a share? $75 a share. It may seem like a lot, but I mean, I can tell you that in like a 3-month span, I spend more than this on not just cereal, but like the little snacks I put in their lunch bags. If I'm cooking, I spend more than that. So why not get a share? Why not work up to a whole share? So that's something else. You don't have to start out with a whole share. I actually sell a stock tracker where you can go ahead and work up to your first quarter share, then work up to your first half share, then your whole share, then the first 5 shares. You slowly build up because once you do that, you'll start to realize, like, oh my goodness, with time and with consistency, it does work. Like this all does work. I know sometimes you don't think like it works because you're just getting started. Give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. We've been on this journey for a long time. I was 30. I'm 38 now. That's a long time to be on a journey. But guess what? I would not trade it for anything in the world because if you would have told me back then that we would be millionaires, I was like, you're lying. Like, do you see the state we're in right now? But increase your income if you can. That's how you can get in front of inflation. Remember, okay, guys? And I'll have some more videos about like salary and interviews. I know a lot of you have been asking if my husband would come on. I have featured him in like the private stuff that I do. But how to interview, how to negotiate salary, benefits, what career fields pay a lot of money because not everybody is cut out to be a TikToker or, like a YouTuber. And let me tell you, it's not as easy as, it may appears when you go online and you see people with these millions of subscribers. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And that's if you get a million subscribers. Like it's a lot of work and you may not grow as fast as you think. So it's always good to have something else working for you on the back end. But yeah, let me stop sharing this. But yeah, anybody have any other questions? So again, you're going to see the markets fall a little while, okay? Things are going to be tough a little while. You saw the CPI report. We just went over it, that article together, and that's on CNBC.com. And it's the featured article. So you literally can go to the site and it's the featured article. You click on it and you can read what we just read. And there's more like in-depth articles from other reporters that you can go ahead and if you want to read through it, it'll be all over the news and stuff. It'll definitely be like if you watch MSNBC, which I do, like they're going to be talking about it all day long. But again, it's about, we're going to be strategic about this. We're going to make sure we're being wiser with our money. You can still do whatever you like in terms of, if you like going to get your coffee and stuff, just budget for it. I always tell people that your budget is not meant to be restrictive. It's meant to give you the permission to go ahead and do things without feeling guilty. That's the key. You don't want to feel guilty, and you don't want to be neglecting something that's more important on the back end, for what you really want. No, that's why I like budgeting. And I'll tell you, if you can find, and again, there's so much talent in this community. If you feel like I don't know how to create a budget, I don't know how to put together a plan, go to Etsy. Go to Chris's website for the creator. Okay, you can find some. You don't have to be. And I think that's a misconception. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know how to put it together a spreadsheet. I don't know how to put together, a cash binder. There's a lot of small businesses. The other investy besties, the other budget folks, they have that talent. They'll do it for you. And I'm telling you, let me tell you, I'm about to get off of there. My throat is like really scratchy. Let me tell you that the people that make things for you that you go and support, they pour a lot of themselves into whatever that they make for you. Okay. I can tell you that if you order something from Amazon, they're going to slap that stuff in the box and ship it out. Somebody on here that, if you feel like, you know what, I want to get started with budgeting, I don't know how to put it together, you go to one of these people on here. Look, okay, like, look, they'll get you something together that's real, real nice, so that you can stay motivated. That'll look beautiful and pretty, and you can get started on your journey. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to get on here and just encourage you guys. I hope you feel encouraged. I hope you feeling motivated. I'm hoping you're feeling like, yeah, I got this. I got this. Because that's what it's about. It's about getting this. So, I did have a video that I wanted to post up today. I may push that to tomorrow, since this is my video for the day. I only do like one thing at a time. But I really felt like this was more important right now, because, if I get several people asking me to do the same thing, I need to come on and talk about that first, because I'm here for you guys as well. Yes, I'm tracking our journey and all of that, but I'm here to motivate and help you guys as best as I can. And so, I'm glad that I was able to do it. It was a pleasure. If you have any questions, send me an email, right? Send me an email. I'm very responsive. And, it's about each one, teach one, reach one. It's about closing this wealth gap. And we can't close it unless we feel like we're comfortable having these conversations, right? Because then we'll be able to put the work behind it. But if we don't feel like, we can do it, then we're not going to do it. But, I'm here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. And my next video, oh, you're not going to want to miss that one. Okay. This one is coming out. Oh, it's a conversation. It's a heart to heart type of video. Okay. This is a subject of our finances we don't talk about, and we're going to talk about it. Okay. So I'm going to put that out tomorrow, and I'm going to just take the rest of the day off, because I'm still doing the last minute things for my daughter's party, which is Saturday. If you want to see little videos and clips of that, follow me on Instagram, because I'll share it in my stories. But that's it. Make sure you guys like the video and leave me a comment if you have anything you want to ask me. I'll be down there in the comment section talking to you guys. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.